Chapter 12. The Reproductive System, the Anatomy and Function of the Mammary Glands. Mammary glands are present in both males and females but normally function only in females. Their function is to produce milk to nourish the newborn baby. Estrogen causes the mammary glands to increase in size during puberty. These glands are modified sweat glands and are located in a round skin-covered area called the breast, anterior to the pectoralis major muscle of the thorax. Each mammary gland consists of 15 to 20 lobes or compartments separated by adipose tissue. It is the amount of adipose tissue present in the breast that determines the size of the breast. In each lobe are several smaller compartments known as lobules, which contain the milk-secreting cells called old alveoli. These alveolar glands are arranged in grape-like clusters. They convey the milk into a series of secondary tubules. From here the milk passes into the mammary ducts. As the mammary ducts approach the nipple, the expanded sinuses called ampullae or lactiferous sinuses are found where milk may be stored. These ampullae continue as lactiferous ducts that terminate in the nipple. The circular pigmented area of skin surrounding the nipple is called the areola. It looks and feels rough because it contains modified sebaceous glands. The function of the mammary glands is to secrete and eject milk, the process known as lactation. As you can see, this is the mammary glands of the lactating breast. A. Anterior view and B. Sagittal view. Pregnancy and embryonic development. Once the egg cell or ovum ruptures from the ovary in ovulation, it must be fertilized within 12 to 24 hours. Once ejaculated, the sperm cell remains viable within the female reproductive tract for 12 to 48 hours. Some sperm can remain viable for up to 72 hours. For fertilization to occur, sexual intercourse must occur no more than 72 hours before ovulation or no later than 24 hours after ovulation. It takes the ovum 24 hours to go approximately 1/3 down the uterine or fallopian tube. If fertilization is going to take place, it will occur in the upper 2/3 of the uterine tube. The sperm cells swim by means of their beating flagella up the vagina and uterus and into the uterine tube. They are attracted to the egg cell by chemicals secreted by the ovum. Although hundreds of sperm cells are surrounding the ovum and rupturing their acrosomes to release enzymes to penetrate the egg cell, only one sperm will penetrate the egg and join its genetic material with the genetic material of the egg to produce a fertilized egg or zygote. As the zygote moves down the uterine tube, it undergoes a series of rapid mitotic divisions, resulting in the hollow ball-like mass of cells called a blastula or blastocyst. By the time it reaches the uterine cavity, it consists of about 100 cells. At this stage, part of the blastocyst develops into the chorionic vesicle, and it secretes human chorionic gonadotropin, the hormone that causes the corpus luteum of the ovary to continue producing its hormones to maintain the lining of the uterus. By the 7th day following ovulation, the developing embryo has embedded itself in the endometrial lining of the uterus. Meanwhile, the 3 primary germ layers are being formed by mitotic divisions. The ectoderm will form skin and the nervous system. The endoderm will form the linings of internal organs and glands, and the mesoderm will form muscles, bone, and the rest of the body tissues. The blastocyst's inner cell mass forms these primary germ layers, and its trophoblast, the large fluid-filled sphere, now begins to form projections called chorionic villi, which will interact with the uterine tissues to form the placenta. Once the placenta is formed, the embryo, which looks like a three-layered plate of cells, becomes surrounded by a fluid-filled sac called the amnion. The embryo is attached by a connecting stalk of tissue called the umbilical cord. The placenta delivers nutrients and oxygen to and removes wastes and carbon dioxide from the embryonic blood. All exchanges with the mother are made through the placenta. By the 9th week of development, the embryo is now called a fetus. By the 9th week of development, the embryo looks definitely human. The placenta has become an endocrine organ secreting estrogen and progesterone to maintain pregnancy, and the corpus luteum is now inactive. Later on in development, the umbilical cord will become the structure that will allow the exchange of nutrients and wastes between the mother and the fetus. As pregnancy progresses, the uterus enlarges to accommodate the developing fetus. It eventually pushes up into the abdominal cavity and occupies most of this area. The abdominal organs push against the diaphragm muscle, causing the ribs to expand and the thorax to widen. During this time, the center of gravity of the mother moves, resulting in an accentuated curvature of the lumbar vertebrae called lordosis, which may cause backaches. At this time, it is essential for the mother to practice good nutrition, eating high-quality food, not just more food. The mother should also avoid any harmful substances that could pass through the placenta into the fetal blood, such as alcohol, drugs, and nicotine. Childbirth is called parturition. The fetus is expelled from the uterus through a process called labor. The hormone oxytocin causes contraction of the smooth muscles of the uterus. At this time, the placenta releases prostaglandins. The combination of these hormones produces more powerful and more frequent contractions of the uterus, forcing the fetus out of the uterus. The stages of labor include the dilation stage, the expulsion stage, and the placental stage. During the dilation stage, the cervix of the uterus is fully dilated by the head of the fetus. The amnion ruptures, releasing the amniotic fluid. This is commonly referred to as the water breaking. The dilation stage is the longest stage of labor, lasting up to 12 hours. During the expulsion stage, the child moves through the cervix and vagina to the outside world. This stage usually lasts about 50 minutes in the first birth to about 20 minutes in future births. Usually, the head of the child emerges first, and the nose and mouth are cleared of mucus so the child can breathe. The umbilical cord is cut and clamped after the rest of the body of the child emerges. A breech birth is one in which the buttocks emerge first and delivery is more difficult. During the placental stage, the placenta detaches from the uterus within 15 minutes after birth. This placenta and its attached fetal membranes are called the afterbirth. The removal of all placental material will prevent prolonged bleeding after delivery. As you can see, this is the early developmental stages of the embryo, showing germ layers, chorionic villi, and other structures. And this is the stages of labor. A. Position of the fetus prior to labor. B. First stage of labor, cervical dilation. C. Second stage of labor, Fetal delivery. D. Third stage of labor, placental delivery.